what a hellish existence. It's like my friend who's like, I want to play Silent Hill 2. It's like, good luck finding it. Good luck getting that game.
It's true.
And it's like, how hard could it be? Oh, $100 for the HD collection, apparently.
Yeah, you know what? We'll just start with that. Hi, it's Drunken Dan and Train Man.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Actually, you know what? That could go into like a bit of a topic because I realized how expensive a number of those old like horror games are. Like, what was it? Like Haunting Grounds is like 200 plus bucks, which is still insane to me.
Well, it's a combination of like them being short print because this was back in the day where like big companies could put out B-list games. I know, right? Like where they went.
More of wood. Now it's if it doesn't make all of the money, it's a failure to them.
Basically, where back when a company could produce a game that was not like that didn't have like a $60 million budget and wasn't basically having to sell like 400,000 units every second in order to break even. Like back in those days, a company like Capcom could like think, hang on, why don't we make a quirky little horror game like Haunting Grounds?
Well, a lot of their horror games, like for a while, were like tech demos of like Resident Evil that didn't quite work. That they then turned into a different game. Like Clock Tower 3 was that way, Haunting Grounds was that way, Devil May Cry, Onimusha, and and also Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
there's probably another one too that I'm just not thinking of.
Well, there's a whole there was a weird sort of boom for survival horror in like the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, thanks to like Resident Evil and Silent Hill like doing fantastic for horror games. And it created like this sort of this interest in the genre that's lasted until, honestly, the PS3 or like PS3 360 era. That's what killed it.
It's not even lost interest. It's just that people was it a lot of companies just decided that people lost interest because then they're like, oh, let's just turn it into an action game instead.
Well, I think it's more like because gaming started to become more and more popular, and you got this, and it became like specifically 360 and PS3 sort of became synonymous with the Call of Duty player. If I say that, you get the idea of the person I'm talking about, right?
I get what you're saying, but I still say it's wrong because a lot of it is literally just they're like, oh, well, we have all these people playing this. Fuck it, let's just try to make the same thing again, the same thing as everyone else, and then be curious as to why we're not making money.
Well, then the other combination, and then the other sort of mitigating factor is there was a series of like fairly large survival horror flops around this time as well.
Let's see here.
Like,
go ahead.
Resident Evil 5.
Well, Resident Evil 5 wasn't even really a horror game anymore. It was built to be an action game.
No, but
that's what I'm getting at, though. It was like they started with Resident Evil 4, 3 you could argue, but 4 definitely they started making the games more of an action game, and like a lot of horror games started moving away from it being a horror and more towards it being an action game, because a lot of companies are just deciding at that point, oh, people want to play action. Actually, Resident Evil 4 is kind of to blame for a lot of that. Because they just decided that, oh, I guess everyone wants it to be horror now.
The whole point is that after a while it stops being like a formula, or it stops being a genre that is like making the big bucks in terms of how the companies see it. So you get into like the massive drought we had, and then you get
it's just that they just stop releasing it themselves. They just decide that people don't want it. Like with RPGs or single player games, even though single player games sell gangbusters. It's just that these companies are fucking stupid.
Then sort of survival horror, for whatever reason, takes its dip until the indie scene sort of brings it back, but zombifies it, I feel.
Usually, like, the indie scene, or, like, what happens is some, like, indie game or some other company just like, hey, let's just make this. And then, because a lot of these companies are creatively bankrupt, they're like, oh, let's make this, maybe, I don't know. Kind of like with Square with, that they weren't making the, oh god, this does not have, this controller that I'm using for this game, doesn't have the motion control thing, and this game actually has a motion control mechanic to it.
So you have to use it.
Yeah, so I gotta go. I gotta grab an old controller. I'm gonna edit this out. I'll be right back. Oh, I remember why I didn't use this controller. because it's
'Cause it
broken.
doesn't work. Ah,
Yeah.
guess we ain't playing Katamari.
Yeah, I'll switch games. Just give me a second. I'll have to buy another one of these controllers at some point. Jesus Christ, I didn't even know this had fucking motion control with it. Alright, give me a second. I'm just gonna dig something up. Hello, everyone. Pretend that Katamari didn't happen, even though I'm leaving it in the video. It's Ninja Gaiden now. Hello.
Oh, which one? There are lots.
2 Sigma.
Ah, Epsilon 4. Gotcha.
Yes. Oh, it needs a software update.
Fuck me. How long's that gonna take?
We'll find out in a minute. We're gonna leave all this mess in. Oh, 50 megabytes. That's whatever. That'll take like a couple of seconds, according to this, like 30 seconds. So, all right, let's just fucking bullshit now, I guess. Oh, this is fun. I'm gonna make sure I get like a regular controller again, so that way like I can actually do Katamari at some point, because I do want to do that.
But yeah,
I mean, I could just boot up like the PS2 version of the game, but then I have to set up the emulator and adjust all the audio, and that's a lot.
and well, I do something today that you can put off for tomorrow.
Or never.
It's Future Dan's problem.
Exactly.
How I live my life.
Next time, you know what I might do after this? I might just do Transformers Devastation, because I haven't played that, but I know it's not installed yet. That's why I was like, oh, let me do Ninja Gaiden. It's probably installed, though.
Oh man, I could talk a lot about Transformers.
Oh, you know what? Let's just make this a one-shot, and then next week we'll just do Transformers.
Okay, and Saber was back unless he died.
Yeah, unless he died in the... unless he was taken
he's-
away to Oz.
I guess we should explain that Saber is currently being smited by God.
It's true.
So
God
I guess
saw
we're
it fit
waiting
to
on this
smoke him.
install.
Oh, it's done. It's booting up now.
Oh.
We can talk.
Oh, okay. I saw Detective Pikachu finally this week.
Okay.
It was alright.
What-
It does have one fatal flaw, though.
What's that?
Bill Nye says the word Pokemon, and I don't like it.
Bill Nye?
Yeah, Bill Nye, you know. The old guy,
Yeah.
old British guy.
Oh!
The guy from Hot Fuzz. You know, the
See,
guy...
I was thinking of Bill Nye, the science guy.
Yeah, no, I know, you're thinking of the pleb. I'm thinking of the incredibly well-respected actor. But it's just like he says the word Pokemon, and I don't like it because it's not right. It's like old people shouldn't say things that are for people who are, you know, like us, not young but not old. I don't think anyone over the age of 60 should even know what a Pokemon is, let alone say the word. It just creeps me out, you know. It like robs the world of that little bit of innocence it has left, I feel. Because it's like Pokemon is our thing. You can't have it.
You know what's really funny? I just looked over. I have a no signal sign, probably because the game is actually installing now too. Ah, fuck! I love modern games. This isn't even a modern game. So they don't get to see this like image of like this like preload. The millennium between the two, between the war between the two draws near. Blah 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 blah. Who cares?
But anyway, so other than that, you know, it was a fine movie. I didn't have any real sort of complaints. It's just, it was entertaining, I guess. That's the best way to describe it. I'm not going to call it best video game movie ever because the Phoenix Wright movie still has that title to me. I mean, it has that fucking blue badger that's like a sentient suit, apparently.
What was it? Oh yeah, so some news I did see. I don't know if you have anything else to talk about Pikachu before I go.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I guess the other thing is it's like, have you seen the movie?
No.
Okay. Do you care about spoilers?
No.
Oh. So, they reveal that the reason the Pikachu could talk to the black kid is because Ryan Reynolds is the black kid's dad. And it's like...
Oh, so it's basically Jack Frost.
Yeah, it's basically Jack Frost. But then it's just sort of awkward because no matter how you like, how many like old middle-aged man glasses you give him, and like how much like sort of fake grey you put in his hair, you can't really disguise the fact that Ryan Reynolds is an incredibly attractive man. So he doesn't
It's true.
seem like he should have a kid in his like early 20s.
Yeah, but well, here we are.
And also, the kid. Also, there's a whole backstory that like got cut from deleted scenes, or got cut and left in deleted scenes. But you know, it was an okay film. Anyway, what would you want to talk about?
I'm actually curious. What was your opinion on the CG designs?
I mean, they're very hit and miss. Like Pikachu looks fine, I think, once he's in motion. A lot of the others are just very off-putting to me. Like like Greninja looks surprisingly okay. Charizard looked pretty bad.
He looks
Jigglypuff,
like he needs some moisturizer.
Jigglypuff looked okay.
Jigglypuff looked okay. He looks like horrors to me.
I mean, comparatively speaking, nowhere near as. I mean, Mr. Mime's the most horrifying one of them all, but you know,
Well, yeah.
that was always going to be the case.
Yeah, no shocker there. Um, so there's some news today. Marvel's going the way that DC went, where its parent company merged all of the divisions of the company into one. So all, just like with Warner Brothers, all of like the comics, the shows, everything is now. They have to go to the guy who's the head of MCU.
Oh yeah, because that didn't significant. That hadn't because that business decision didn't like also just so happened to coincide with DC properties like taking a massive dip in terms of revenue.
Nope, not at all.
Which I mean, coincidentally, and there's no what like all the anime because what this was as Brave and the Bold gets cancelled, right? And then,
It was around that time, yeah.
and then that's when we get Beware the Batman.
Which was a significantly worse show.
I mean, also tax write-off.
Yeah, it got written off as a tax. I found like a DVD of it in the wild like a couple months ago, and I was like, "Holy shit!" The tax write-off on DVD.
But yeah.
They were hyping the shit out of that show. I think my favorite part is Brave and the Bold did like a jab at because they knew it was coming down the pipe, but they just reskinned it as Batgirl instead. You remember that, right?
Yeah. But it's like, well, it's like, you can see why. So Brave and the Bold cut. So Batman Begins comes out and interest in Batman resurges. So Brave and the Bold like kicks off. You know, we're gonna try a different kind of Batman because you know we're still unsure. Because Batman Begins did well, but we're still like a bit iffy. Didn't want to lean too heavily on like BTAS stuff. But then The Dark Knight came out and became an incredibly like talked about movie, I guess is the best way to describe it. And it kind of,
you know, I feel like that movie did as well as it did because Heath Ledger passed away.
Almost,
no offense to the actor,
no,
just,
almost
you know,
assuredly.
Because that movie really wasn't that great. We've talked about that at length.
I mean, there's things to talk about, yeah, but it's kind. But I'll say for sure. I'll say that definitely, like, other circumstances also helped it. Like, as awful as it sounds, the mass shooting that happened.
Well, that was the next movie. It wasn't Batman Dark Knight. It was Dark Knight Rises where the shooting.
I thought it was Dark Knight where it happened.
It was Dark Knight Rises where it happened.
Yeah. But yeah, Heath Ledger dying and getting like the posthumous Oscar. Or did he get the Oscar? I forget.
I think he did.
I mean, it was always probably going to get. I mean, it's a fair shout to say he did get it just because he was dead, and then pretend that they're not like, and it's not just a popularity contest. But yeah,
yeah. If I remember, he did win. He did get it.
So, I don't know. Dark Knight does incredibly well for one reason or another, and DC now that DC has done the whole thing of merging all of its departments into one super department, runs into the problem of that you know one head doesn't that one guy is not keeping, or person girl whoever is not keeping track of what's going on in every single division, are they? So that's why you get to the thing.
Well, they all have to. Well, in both of those, they have to answer to them. So before they do anything, they have to go to them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So when they have to go to them, but it's like with the DC problem. So like, person was put in charge of DC and read comics, so she had like a loose understanding. So she was,
Well, it's more of like, yeah, she had like barely any understanding, and then we saw like we saw like New 52 happen.
Yeah.
Like suspiciously not long. It got announced suspiciously soon after she was put in charge of everything. So I am fully expecting there to be like this massive like MCU reskin to the comics. I'm expecting them to pretty much shit on Spider-Man.
They've been threatening reboot for years.
It's true.
What they'll do is they'll just adjust the costume designs and personalities and the overall like designs to more closely resemble their MCU counterparts, even more so.
Yeah. So I'm gonna restart the game real quick, see if it gets the signal that way.
Fair.
Because the other answer could be the game won't detect that, or I'm gonna have to restart the Elgato. Okay, now it's up. I do have a splitter, so that shouldn't be a problem. So I'm actually surprised that it couldn't get the signal, considering. Let's see what happens this time. Will it no signal? Okay, now it's saying no signal. What will it say in a second, though? Okay, signal. Cool. Okay, there's the game. Okay, so it might have been just because of the download thing that it just was acting up that way.
Welcome.
But yeah, we'll do Transformers next time.
Right. I like the Transformers sometimes. Occasionally. Well, I used to. But yeah. I mean, Marvel could do what it wants at this point. There's not a whole lot of things that they're going to put out for a long time that I'm going to be interested in anymore.
Yeah. It was just more of like a thing like, okay, so it was just more of like a thing like, oh no, where they're doing the thing that Warner Brothers did. Which I'm not surprised, because it's in the similar time frame, too, where the characters started really taking off with the movies, so they just merged everything into the film, division, basically.
It's because you see the idea makes sense from like, a business standpoint, in the sense you go, so we'll just like put everything all under one roof so that every single department has to like work together. So you create this like, so you create like content that is connected,
Right.
But the problem with that is that you have just a whole bunch, is that everyone wants to do their own thing, And there's certain things you can do in a movie that you can't do in cartoons, and can't do in comics, and etc., etc. So you have like all of these like vastly different mediums that are all trying to do very similar things that need to somehow like stay consistent, and it also leads into other issues. So like, DC's famously against like using specific characters or elements that they don't want you to use at that point. It's like, we bitched about it, but CW and basically told, no, you can't do Batman, needs them.
I mean, Warner Brothers in general are like, well, even before Warner Brothers did consolidate everything, DC in general was very, very tight on what you could use. As we talked about, like how Justice League, by I think a certain point in Unlimited, they were restricted from using any Batman character other than Batman himself. He was all they were allowed to use. Like, they couldn't use Robin, Batgirl, or any of the Rogues Gallery. They've always been like that. When they were doing the Superman cartoon, the only reason Supergirl got in the show was because they made that whole bullshit, oh no, she's not Kryptonian, it's a sister planet sort of thing. Because at that time, DC had a firm Superman is Clark is the only Kryptonian left alive thing. So because of that, they basically made this whole loophole because they just wanted to get Supergirl in the show. And even in the comics, their loophole was they had this weird angel thing for Supergirl.
I mean, they should just do what they always do in this situation. It's Earth 2.
I mean, obviously they eventually rescinded on that, considering they then got rid of that Supergirl and just brought back original like Carl, and then did all that shit. So they eventually just rescinded on that and didn't care. But DC's always been really weird with what you can and cannot do. That's not even like a newer thing. Like there are honestly, they're probably the list of characters that they will not allow you to use. Now is probably different than what they wouldn't let you use like a couple years ago.
But yeah, so we'll see if Marvel can manage to maintain relevance now that we live in a post-Avengers world.
Yeah, I am curious to see how this plays out.
But yeah, beyond that, I think there's any other interesting news stories. I guess I was right. Blizzard did sort of backtrack on their decision.
Sort of.
Well, they did give the guys prize money back.
Yeah, that's about all they did.
Which I said they would do. And
yeah,
they did reduce the ban, so it's...
Would they reduce it to now?
6 months, so he'll be able to play by the time of the next sort of...
No, I think he's done. I think he decided he's done.
Did he decide?
And I think he already decided he was done before they rescinded it. So this is just them being like, listen, we lowered his bans. Haha.
Did he decide? Because the statement I read was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a break and I'll see when the ban's over." So he hadn't. So there was no clear decision by then. But
okay, because I heard he did. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know.
We'll see. Bearing in mind, this is also all stuff translated from Chinese to English, so who knows if any of that could have been misinterpreted.
We will not allow you to offend the great country of China.
But we already sort of talked about it, and...
Yeah, there's really nothing else to add that isn't already mentioned.
Beyond that... no new games, just because there's not really been anything coming out.
Yeah.
It's an oddly dry.
The new games, this month's fairly dry. This month, was it next month the game that was it next month I have the Sonic game coming out, the Sonic and Mario game, because I actually am interested in it. It looks fun.
Oh.
I like the little I like the 2D events they have for it, and it just looks fun. The new Olympic Games.
Fair.
And obviously Pokemon Sword and Shield come out that month.
Oh, but what about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order?
What about Star Wars?
Oh no. I guess I keep forgetting Episode 9 is actually coming out in 2 months. I'll be sure not to watch it.
I'm back!
No, but why should we even care if he's back? Because they then decided that Palpatine wasn't really the Emperor. It was just some random woman who held together the Empire where Palpatine couldn't. It's
because he was too incompetent.
So it's you've just massively shot yourself in the foot there. Because you literally provided 2 different...
Disney has a plan for anything.
Well, no, but it's
Marvel Cinematic Universe was a happy accident.
It wasn't
even I know you don't disagree. I'm just fucking...
It wasn't even their accident. It was literally Aviarid and other guy had the idea initially, and then Disney bought Marvel, and it already had it all set up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even the case of man, Disney really planned this out. Fuck no, someone else planned this out.
Honestly, the character additions after Disney acquired them were pretty shit too.
Well, I mean, I've complained enough about Black Panther and made my thoughts on Captain Marvel as a character and an entity quite clear.
Yeah, we've beaten that drum for a long time.
It's, but yeah.
We've talked ad nauseum about those two and why they're not quite that good. Oh yeah, and Star Wars, of course, Star Wars.
I mean, so the problem is because they're such huge franchises. There's always something else coming out for them, and it's almost all consistent, consistently garbage. I talked about the Ghostbusters game, didn't I? That I replayed it.
Yeah, I think you talked about that last week, and you were enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a fun time. Perfect Halloween game.
Spookums.
Because
I have that game on a PC somewheres. I don't know if I have it installed though.
it's actually nice for a remaster as well. Like there is definite like graphical improvement. Unlike some remasters, which just look awful. Like the Arkham remasters.
I've heard stories about those.
You just hear the stories, just see the fucking pictures. People post them everywhere. It was shocking.
I've probably seen them and just forgot.
Mm.
Like like you see something that you just forget about it because you just not a thought you have on top of your head.
It was actually an interesting court case I heard about the other day.
Oh.
So, there's a thing in France of them like the French sort of high courts going against Steam because
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
where basically they ruled that Steam has to allow for resales of digital games because. So to sort of explain it, so in terms of like when it comes to like buying and selling things, you have like two things you pay for essentially, which is one is goods and one is services.
Right.
And a good is like something you buy, you own.
Yeah.
And a service is you pay money to someone and they'll provide you a service. So like buying a game from like EB Games or whatever it was called, GameStop, that's a good because hey, you now own that game. And online sort of distributors have sort of have tried to work on the basis that oh no, we're a subscription, or we're like providing a service. And it's always been a bit of a grey area, but a high court in France has ruled that digitally bought games are goods. Which
there's like kind of a mixed thought I have on this for the reselling thing. So like I kind of agree with it. The company that'll get fucked, the groups that'll get fucked with it the most, I think, are probably like indie developers.
Well, it has potentially like far-reaching issues. Because here's the thing, right? Yeah, it's like one thing for games, and obviously, like games have been a bit of a concern because of digital only is.
Yeah, because digital only sucks.
Well, it's also essentially removed a lot of consumer rights by virtue of pretending game as a service.
Because of that too, like a lot of games just become you just can't get them anymore.
Yeah, so
they're unplayable, or you can't even acquire them anymore. Like Scott Pilgrim, for example.
Yeah, so it creates this rather and as I said, it has far-reaching circumstances because then, well, the same would also have to apply, therefore, for any sort of digital movie, right? It's like say you buy a film off of iTunes or Google Store or whatever, Amazon, whatever. It's like if it's a digital thing, like by this ruling, it should actually also be a good, just like if you bought the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and this also would apply to music as well.
Oh. I see what you're getting at.
So here's where things get a bit Here's where things get interesting because it means, therefore, that like fundamentally how like the digital marketplace works would have to be changed to reflect the fact that you are essentially buying goods and not paying for a service. Which, as I said, it's always been a bit of a legal grey area because no one ever really bothered to deal with it. But yeah, so we could very well see like. The digital resale market become a thing, which I'm not technically opposed to because there's a lot of very real arguments to be made for the fact that digital only does remove consumer rights.
Yeah,
because you don't own that. Because they try and explain that you don't own that thing that you paid money for to own.
Right. No, it's a very complicated issue, honestly. Like, I don't know. I don't have like a big opinion on it. It's just a very complex issue that kind of interested to see how this plays out and how this is gonna what's gonna happen.
How it'll probably play out is Steam will likely appeal, and they'll probably win the appeal because they'll sort of Well, not like illegally or anything, but they'll imply that this will be a massive detriment to the business, to not just their business but other businesses, and
They might even do the argument I thought of was like, what about like say like some guy who just made a game and put it on, and how like he might not be able to make a living off of it or something. They might even just do that.
They might. So what they might do is they might appeal and use those sort of examples, and the Supreme Court will not necessarily say that the ruling itself is bad, but just there's a term that gets thrown around in law called opening the floodgates, which is pretty self-explanatory. But the idea is that it means that judges and courts need to be very careful on the kind of rulings they make, because if you make a ruling that has like a large, broad, sweeping effect,
setting a precedent, basically.
Yeah. So if it set like if you set like a massive precedent like that, then it's like opening the floodgates to a whole bunch of other stuff, and well, they might not want to deal with that, so they might not want to rock the boat. But it is interesting still.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. I'm like kind of watching this whole situation with interest, because like if it does go through and it does happen, the consequences of it, and also like you will see then like other countries following suit with it and adopting the idea as well.
Not necessarily. You'll see. It'll be because that's the thing. Steam has no reason not to appeal for it in every country.
Oh yeah, they're gonna fight against it.
I think the American standpoint will be to push for them, because
America's usually rule in favor of corporations. So.
Yeah, and they'll probably take the stance of, this will create a precedent we don't like, therefore we'll just not bother with this. It is only my thinking. But who knows? Maybe
it's possible.
Maybe all those old people won't even understand what the internet is, and they'll go, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of ways it could play out. It's very curious how this will turn up. I am interested. It's kind of nuts, honestly.
Man. But yeah, it's interesting, but who knows? The law is a stupid, dumb thing made by stupid, dumb people.
Yeah, because it's made by people.
That's what I said. Stupid, dumb.
Isn't that redundant?
You're redundant.
You're a dun.
Okay. Can't spell redundant without Dan.
Okay.
Sure. I need to watch more stuff. I've had Shazam for a while, but I just every time I think, I'll sit down and watch it, something else crops up, and I'm like, I'll get back to it.
I watched up until like the more recent stuff of Mao Mao Heroes of Pure Heart. That show's fun. It's like a comedy cartoon sort of thing. It's a fun show. It feels very much like this kind of stupid show I'd make.
Well, that's good.
Like, one of the main antagonists is they're sky pirates, and his name is Orangu Snake. It's literally just a snake sitting on, like, in armor, but it's like a snake and orangutan in armor, but, like, the snake's just on the shoulders of the orangutan. And he talks exactly what you'd hope he'd talk like.
Just like Cobra
considering
Commander.
He's a snake. Yes, he has that kind of Cobra Commander voice. It's exactly what you would want.
Good
I'm so happy.
Snake.
But,
yeah.
Other than that, I haven't been watching too much. I just finished where that series is at the moment. So, nothing too new, like, in terms of, like, watching. In terms of playing, still playing Indivisible. The game's good.
One of these days, I'll work up the courage to watch My Hero Academia, and then be thoroughly disappointed by it. As I am by everything that's super hyped up, and I finally sit down and watch.
I think it's funny, though. I can't even call it disappointment, my emotion towards Attack on Titan. It was just, like, utter contempt for it when I watched it. I think my favorite thing about it, though, is every time I hear more stuff about Attack on Titan, is it just got dumber and dumber as it went on. Because did I tell you about, like, the actual villain is Aaron from the future.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that every time I hear more about this show, like, I remember, I think, about a year or two ago, in one of our recordings, we were talking about, like, our theories on what stupid ending it was gonna have. And, like, I think we were doing, like, it was gonna be, like, an environmental thing or something like that we were figuring.
Yeah. The real monsters.
And then it was just even dumber.
I mean,
somehow.
The real monster is always man.
I guess, the real monster was Aaron.
He is man, therefore he is the real monster. I mean...
But he's also the hero. But he's also the villain. But he's also the hero. He made the monkey do it. The monkey is related to him in some way.
And I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds did this plot, and then they backed out of it at the last minute. Oh, so I guess to sort of loosely explain... I won't go into the full details because it's not that important, but like throughout the entire second half of the show, they like heavily imply main character that the main antagonist is main character from the future.
I can see the future.
Yeah, there's like the whole bunch of implications, and they're like building up to it, and then like the last sort of episode where he's revealed, and they're like, "Oh no, it's Yusei. Yusei was the bad guy all along." And then like, actually, no, it's just a guy who decided to surgically alter himself to look like Yusei, so that he could inspire people to fight against the robotic uprising.
Well,
yeah,
that's a whole thing, I guess.
I mean, 5D's had a lot of production problems, mostly to do with real life problems. Like it had a whole plot based around like evil ancient Aztec cults, and then one of the main voice actresses got involved in a weird, creepy sex cult that the police got involved in. So she had to be unpersoned, and that entire story had to be hastily rewritten into androids from the future.
I can see the future.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it again.
But yeah, 5Ds was a hell of a show. Never again. But yeah.
But yeah, in terms of my own channel, it won't be up for a bit, but I did finally finish like the recordings for Yakuza Kiwami.
Hooray! Kiwami means extreme.
It does. Oh yeah, I still gotta pre-order the HD remaster set for 3, 4, and 5. I've heard nothing but bad things about 3. Or at the very least, mediocre things.
Yeah. Bearing in mind, like at this point, 3 is like the oldest Yakuza game that will be in relevant existence. By which I mean like 3 is not getting like obviously because it's a remastering, it's not getting like the Kiwami treatment, just like flat out remaking it from the get go. So 3 is like now the oldest game and therefore has like the worst mechanics and.
Well, I mean, I heard like the story is pretty bad.
I mean, the story's just sort of it's kind of just sort of non-existent in a sense.
Like I heard it's pretty fucking boring, for example.
Well, no, I mean there's a really cool boss fight against Wesker.
Well,
yeah, basically, I mean it's a guy who looks like Albert Wesker and is just like freakishly strong and skilled and has like no real sort of backstory or name. He's just a guy who's like in the sort of black trench coat, blonde hair, blacked out sunglasses, and then he like does crazy martial arts shit. And also he's white. Also he's a white guy, so that makes him also stand out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would stand out in Yakuza.
So, yeah, Kiryu just fights Wesker at the end of 3. That's something.
That statue gonna come to life.
Yes.
I know you're not watching it, but just the way they stopped on it. But because I haven't played this game in years. I'll be honest though, this game is really fun. Ninja Gaiden 2.
I definitely think the Sigma version's a lot better than the original one.
Oh yeah, I never played the original one. I only played the Sigma. I enjoyed the Sigma version. I know about that turtle, the exploding turtle.
Oh, that's the fucking worst boss. Not because it's a difficult boss, but because it's literally just designed to fuck you.
I only didn't die when I first played it, because when I got to it and it just stalled, I got super paranoid with just holding the block and waiting for something to happen, and that apparently was the correct answer to the problem.
But it's so dumb that you basically...
Oh, it is! It's dumb! The only reason I didn't die was because I was paranoid.
Like, it's... I fucking hate that, and it's the end of the boss fight as well, so if you just see... If you just beat it, because Ninja Gaiden... I don't want to say it's difficult. It's, like, difficult, but not in a fun way, I feel. Because it just feels like...
This game in general, or just that boss?
Yeah, in general.
I actually didn't die my entire time playing this game.
But I mean, like, it's difficult, but not in a fun way. It's like... It's just because every enemy feels like it does a lot more damage than it really should, and hitboxes are a bit wonky, especially in, like, original.
Honestly, I'm talking about Sigma, but in this version of the game, you can just fucking... I've been gimping out enemies left and right. One of the funniest things you can do is Dragon Sword, jump in the air dash. Usually you're going to dismember them, immediately hit triangle, they're dead.
I mean, it all changes once you get the scythe, and you can just, like, do jump attack, and then you just kill
I'm talking about even the Dragon Sword. The Dragon Sword's great.
No, I know, that's what, it's like, I don't know, say, like, until, like, Sigma fixed a lot of the issues, but Ninja Gaiden has always felt this kind of... Has always felt like, if I just say, like, Koei jank, does that make sense? Like,
I don't really see it in this game,
like,
to be honest. This game feels really good.
Yeah, on the Sigma version. I'm more talking about original.
Oh, the original. Yeah. I don't know about the original.
Like,
I've only ever played the Sigma versions of these games.
But you know, if I say, like, Koei jank, what I'm talking about, where, like, they'll just have games that have, like, feel really... That just sort of... They don't like, it just feels like there's some issue with them, like, hitboxes aren't quite lined up, or animations are a bit sticky.
Well, Koei and Tecmo at this time were two different companies, so I'm not really sure. So, like, with some Dead or Alives, I can. Like, for example, Dead or Alive 3 has some jank where it's, like, hitbox, like, for some attacks, it looks like they're supposed to hit mid, hit high or low, and some lows hit mid, and stuff like that. Which is mainly more of a thing to notice when you're trying to do counters. It's a little bit better in later games, but, but with the Ninja Gaiden ones, like I said, I've only ever played the Black or Sigma versions of the games, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about the vanilla ones. I've heard that the vanilla version of like Ninja Gaiden 2 was bad. I've never played it myself to really, like, you know, talk about it. Because this is the version I played, because that version was on Xbox only. I didn't have an Xbox at the time, so I didn't play the game until this version of the game came out. Which, you know, adds, like, Ayane as playable character and other shit. And improves AI and little stuff like that. Though I know that turtle boss is in both versions of the game and does the same thing in both versions of the game.
Yeah, because that's fine. That's by design. That's not a mistake. It's just still bullshit.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that, with him. I do not disagree. But, I don't know, I've never had the other issues of, like, enemies, like, doing too much damage, because I can usually just avoid... I mean, I just took a couple hits, like, a second ago, but, like, I can just run around the arena.
Plus, there's also weird things,
easily.
so, like, I always remember the stage with the werewolves in the castle is always a bit iffy, because, like...
I remember that stage.
Like, all you need to do is stand on the table, and then none of the enemies can actually ever hit you.
Oh, I'm fucking up
Like,
now.
they'll just stand there and be like, well, okay then, table ban. You've bested me this time.
It's like dealing with actual dogs. Just stand on the table and they can't get you.
And also, the greater fiends just don't even impact me. Whatever they're called.
I believe they are, greater fiends or something like that.
Where it's like, hey, you know those werewolf enemies? You just thought, well, hey, you can fight another one, but he has 2 extra arms and a scythe. And it's like, ooh.
Oh, he's dead. But yeah, I don't know. I've never really had, any, like, major issue playing this. Well, again, like I said, I'm playing Sigma version. I've never really had, like, any kind of major issues. I've had a lot of fun with it. And honestly, that's like I think the first time just now is the first time I've used a healing item.
But it's okay, Ninja Gaiden's dead.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe one day it'll come back, but...
I played 3. 3 is definitely not as good. I enjoyed playing it. It's definitely closer to, like, the bullshit, because it has, like, a lot of QTE bullshit in it.
Plus also...
In cutscenes.
Plus also, I don't know, I never played that because I remember sort of it coming, I remember the hype being up and it's like, Ryu Hayabusa has an evil left arm now, and I was like, wait a second.
No, not that one, not that one. I'm talking about 3. The one you're talking about is, it was that weird one where you're not playing as Ryu Hayabusa.
Oh, you mean Ninja Gaiden Z?
Yeah, I think you're talking about that one.
No, I'm just talking about 3. Like, 3 he has like an evil arm or something, doesn't he? Like a demon or something sealed in his arm.
No.
I'm gonna check this now.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Thing. Blah blah blah. There's the plot.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember this at all.
Ah, here it is. He curses Ryu's right arm with the grip of murder, which thrives on all the lives Ryu has taken, causing the dragon sword to be absorbed into Ryu's arm. So yeah, he does have like an evil arm.
Yeah, I don't think it really comes up in the plot though. I don't remember anything with it in the plot.
It might not, but my point was is that as soon as you get to that whole point of like, here it's a character, it's like a big character, it's a big sort of stylistic action game, but with the main character has like a funky, weird, evil arm. I'm like, hang on a second, wait a second, this is just Devil May Cry 4.
Hey Nero, what are you doing here?
Get the fuck out of that ninja get up, son.
Listen, I got issues. Dante keeps calling me worthless.
Dead weight.
So I decided to become a ninja. But I just remember not enjoying that one as much as this one. But like I said, I haven't played.
Well, I understand though. Ironically enough, the Wii port fixes it.
No, the Wii was the first version.
Oh.
The version I have is the more fixed up version.
Oh.
I have the PS3 version. But yeah, the Wii U one is the one that's all kinds of jank. Oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to go down this hole. Derp.
I'm honestly surprised they've never just made female Ryu Hayabusa for Dead or Alive.
Yeah, they never have. I mean, the closest you get to that is like Kasumi, but that's fucking Kasumi.
Yeah, but like Kasumi and Ayane don't count because they have pretty distinct designs, and also none of them are like Dragon Sword people. They are. Kasumi's just like regular punch kicks, and Ayane has like the daggers.
Like she has a sword. Kasumi has a sword, but she doesn't use it like in Ninja Gaiden. Like neither does Ryu use his sword in the game. In those games, I think because I know Kasumi's playable in one of them. I believe she uses a sword. Ayane uses short swords. And exploding kunai. And then Momiji, she uses a halberd.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Is there a third player? Oh right, I think
Rachel.
Rachel's in.
Yeah, she's got a. I think she's got like a big fuck off hammer.
Hilariously enough, she was added in, but not into the game. She's actually it, but she wasn't even in that game.
Yeah, I think she is playable in 3 and 2. Like I think she's actually one of the playable characters in this one. Let me go check. Yeah, she was one of the added playable ones for this version of the game. Her, Ayane, and Momiji.
Sorry, whatever your name is, Sonya or something. Yeah.
She's in, yeah. Sonya didn't even get that. She didn't get playable in 3. Nope, she doesn't get that.
Because man, Sonya's just the fucking worst. Because it's like Rachel.
Literally, like, what was it in the opening of this game? She's at a bar and then just gets like. She like kills like 2 ninjas and then is immediately knocked out and kidnapped.
Well, the problem is, right, is that so after the success of Ninja Gaiden Black or whatever, Rachel who has a pretty Koei design. I think it's a nice way to phrase it.
Tecmo Koei. Let's be real. It works for both companies even before they joined up.
So
actually, I will say actually no, because Koei's designs were over the top, but not quite like to the level like Dead or Alive yet. It wasn't until they merged where the designs for the female cast got more a little bit more booby.
It's like because because Rachel was in Ninja Gaiden, well, Black. And that game did well. They're like, well, we need to repeat the formula, so let's just have another, like, busty blonde in a ridiculous outfit, but let's just have her do even less. And it's like, why is she in this game? It's like, she's there to say, hey, Ryu, maybe you should go and chase after these greater fiends. And it's like, I think you'd just do that anyway, wouldn't you?
Even the, I can't remember her name, but the, I just remember she was a mom. In 3 does more than Sonya does. She's not even mentioned in 3. I think she's like briefly referenced in 3, and that's about it. I think Ryu makes a passing note of her.
And it feels especially weird to like introduce all these characters because Ryu's not really a character.
No, he's just a. He walks in. Oh, there's demons to fight. Time to go fight the demons.
He's a blank slate who's like, I must complete my training in order to maintain my honor.
It's not even that. It's more like, oh, there's like demons and shit around. Well, I guess gotta start killing again. Oh boy, here I go killing again. Like, I like his design and shit. Like, I think he looks cool, but yeah, he's got no personality.
Certainly a bit of a letdown in comparison to other, like, action game characters.
Yeah.
Dante. But yeah.
Yeah, compared to Dante, he's not nearly as cool. Even, like, Bayonetta, while I'm not a fan of the Bayonetta games, Bayonetta as a character, I really like her.
I don't know, I think that kind of sums up Ninja Gaiden in general, where it's like...
If Bayonetta had, like, gameplay that felt a little bit more... I don't know. Something about Bayonetta feels stiff.
I think it's like... I was more so meaning that, like, to me, Ninja Gaiden feels like that game that's trying to be cool, versus Devil May Cry is that game that just is cool.
I don't know. I don't really get that. It's just an action game. It doesn't feel like it's like, we're cool or something like that. It's just dumb ninja shit.
But yeah.
Feels more like an old, like, action movie sort of thing. Or like an an old anime sort of thingy.
I was gonna say, it can't be an old action movie because there's not a guy in a tank top fighting the ninja. It's
true, you're right. But it does follow the rule of the ninja rule, though, where more ninjas means weaker, less ninjas means better.
I mean, that's just the rule of... That's just, any sort of mook enemy.
No, I just mean it follows the inverse ninja rule. Because think about it. Ryu Hayabusa, one ninja. Great. All the other ninjas that come after him, there's too many of them. They just suck because there's too many of them.
Remember there was this webcomic I used to read that was about a ninja?
Inverse ninja theory.
It was about a ninja. And, like, one of his enemies used this against him because he cloned him. He cloned the ninja, like, 500, 100 times or whatever. Precisely because he knew that by doing so it would drastically reduce his power.
I think it was like Dr. Ninja or something like that.
Dr. Ninja, yeah, that was it. I love that too. I think Chris Hastings, the guy who wrote that, now does Marvel comic. Well, does like Deadpool and stuff. So good for him.
That's a good fit. That's honestly a really good fit.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy this. Like, there's part of me that wants to keep playing this game after all. But I feel like there's more we could talk about with Transformers.
Well,
so maybe on my own, I'll just reboot this as a more like streamlined LP where I'll just re-record this whole level and all that shit.
Not this clusterfuck of whatever.
Yeah. I'm just gonna call the video Cluster F and just put like asterisks on the title or some shit.
No, you should just call it Fuster Cluck.
That's a good one. But, Because, like, most of what the commentary would be like with you and me with this, it'd be like you going, like, oh, I don't really like it, and me going, oh, no, I kind of like it.
Basically.
There wouldn't really be, like, an argument between us, it'd just be that. And that's really it. Like, I won't really fight you on things. I'm just like, I kind of disagree. So that's the problem when you're older kids. You just don't care as much. You're just like, oh, you don't like the thing I like? Whatever.
Also just...
Oh, I disagree. Whatever.
Yeah. Plus, like, you know... So...
Me liking it or him not liking it doesn't...
This game itself is older than most people who watch YouTube videos these days.
You're probably, let me see, what year did this come out? Holy crap, this game is 10 years old.
Yeah, it was like 09, 08, something like that.
Yeah, 09.
So yeah, there's people who watch these YouTube videos who are younger than this game, so it's kind of like...
That's terrifying. If you're watching my videos and you're like 10, go away. Seriously, go away.
I mean,
you're too young for this. Go away. Shoot.
I don't know, it feels weird to take these like moral high grounds of, wow, kids shouldn't play this, and it's like, but I did this shit as a kid. I watched videos that should...
Oh, I don't care about... I watch videos. Actually, the thing is, I wasn't allowed to watch R until I was, like, in middle school. Which is still too young, but... Like, I had to be, like... I was at least, like, I think, like... You know, I think I was, like, 13, 14 the first time I saw a rated R movie. Video games, though, I was allowed to play M pretty early on. I wasn't allowed to play Mortal Kombat until I was older. Not to say that I didn't.
But...
because, you know, friends had the thing.
Yeah, what I'm saying, it's like, it feels odd for people to be taking these, like, moral high grounds, when it's like, but you did this exact same shit when you were their age. Like...
Oh, you said, like, I'm telling them they're immoral. I'm just saying, hey, you shouldn't be here. I'm not gonna get rid of you, but you should probably not be here, but whatever.
I mean...
Like, comment, subscribe if you are.
Smash that bell.
Smash that bell icon!
God.
Wow!
Stay on YouTube. I miss the old days, back when YouTube was just a whole bunch of people with fucking camcorders pointing to the television screen, so they're calling everyone every name under the sun because someone disagreed with you. Man,
come on, let's bring back unregistered hypercam 2.
I thought you were gonna like name drop a classic YouTuber. I was getting excited. I was like,
I'm gonna be like, bring back Armac. Don't look up Armac, it's trash.
I mean, Armac is like the first of the... is probably one of the first little examples of these like sort of high level abuses of power of like YouTube fame, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Although his was slightly more complicated because he didn't have fans necessarily to like... This is the weird thing. So this was back before like YouTube partner channels were a thing, you know, like Machinima and stuff, before they got big.
Yeah, this was like,
that
thing.
For some reason, Armac and a whole bunch of his friends got like an investor of some sort. And then, yeah, Armac stole a bunch of money from him. From his employer / investor, whatever. It's a really complicated system. As I said, this was before like YouTube networks became a thing, and and then they died.
Yeah,
I know a couple still
rest
exist.
in piss, Machinima.
Well, that was their own fault. But like, I know some networks still exist, but like, they're not like anywhere near as like. Because you remember, like, there was a point where if you did even if you did even remotely well, chances are a network was going to try and pick you up.
Yeah, like even like back in the day when I did a little better, I remember even getting some emails from those.
You were part of a network, weren't you?
No, I was never part of a network. I just had partnership.
Ah.
Because at one point, the partnership qualifications were like, have X amount of subscribers, and then that changed last year.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, back in the old days before like YouTube networks and anything, it was the wild west of video making.
It really was.
Everyone hated everyone else, and we all tried to not really get along because we were too busy calling each other horrible names. It was glorious. God, and I remember all the drama that happened with Let's Play channels just starting up. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah. Remember like when people be like, oh yeah, you gotta... No, I'm doing that game. That's my game. You can't do that game.
Yeah, back when there was like a handful of LPs, so they all like could get together and say, no, I'm doing this one, you can do this one. And it's like, well now there's just too many.
Or there was like the LP rules where it's like you can't do a game unless it's like a couple months old or some shit.
Man.
Was it like three to 2 months, something like that?
Something, yeah, it was all like usually like self-imposed rules that eventually just sort of got forgotten and ignored.
Because I mean, like, you're gonna get more views if you do a game sooner. But nowadays, unless you're already like a partner, or have a deal with like with a company, you can't even get like the first view kind of thing. You can't even do that anymore because, like, your like completionists and such are gonna get like first dibs on copies.
Yep.
Because they get copies early. They get review copies.
Yeah, it was like a whole system. God, back in those days, the idea of a corporate sponsorship was just nuts.
Yeah. Now you get like tons of like at the start of videos where people are like, this video is brought to you by Blue Apron or some shit.
Although the worst part is you get like 5 minutes in and then they'll be like, and now a word from our sponsor. And it's like, you son of a bitch.
Or like when they do that, like when they do like the transition to it.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this is bad, but not as bad as, and it's just like, oh, fuck off.
It's like, god damn it.
Oh god, that stuff's annoying. But not as annoying as your VPN getting stolen. Join VPN.
Yeah, that is also the other thing. We didn't have... Everyone was more quote-unquote real. Where, like, people would say, oh no, I'm playing a character. And it's like, no, you are just an autistic man-child.
Yeah, come on, be honest like me. I'm just an autistic man-child.
Nowadays, everyone's like trying to... My favourite thing is whenever you see people like, oh, I'm going to try and be family-friendly and not swear. And it's like...
Well, that's another thing. So, you actually do get fucked with the algorithm by swearing. That's why, like, a lot of channels that have been around for a while, like, you now see them, like, bleep out, like, F-bombs and shit, where other ones that are, like, kind of, like, big and that are ridiculously huge still do them, because, I mean, like, you're really gonna hit me on the Yogscast kind of thing.
Also, just after a certain point, it's like, you know, fuck it. Like, you do get that point of, like, especially because, like, you bring up Yogscast, like, pretty sure the vast majority of their income comes from, like, Twitch or whatever. And donations and shit.
Oh, probably.
Which is, like, the case for a lot of people, so it's not super, like, you know, monetizing videos is not really important because the whole point is they more or less using the videos as, like, a form of income, yes, but also, like, you know, advertising. So, oh, you like this content, why don't you come see this kind of content live at twitch.tv/whatever.
Right. But I'm saying, like, I've noticed, like, other ones are, like, a little bit smaller or mid-tier-ish, have been, like, blooping, or cutting out, cusses more often.
There's a little channel I like called Valverde.
I mean, I haven't done that. That's fucking way too much fucking
Yeah, but
work.
you're also not trying to get monetized anymore.
No.
So, these people are trying to make a career off of YouTube, and that's their first mistake.
The fiends are trying to resurrect the archfiend.
I always joke saying, yeah, if I ever got famous, someone fucked up somewhere.
They're heading for the
someone made a mistake.
A mistake.
Like, and, like, also, even just, like, disliking a game that's popular isn't even, like, like, as big of a deal nowadays, because I remember, because, like, back, like, a couple years ago, like, I've joked about it for ages, like, me saying, like, oh, I think, Sonic Adventure 2 sucks, was, like, this big controversial stance, and was, like, a damning thing to say, and, like, people get mad at you, or not liking Mario Sunshine, where now people, like, you might get, like, one guy who cares, but, like, People don't care as much when you just say, I don't like this thing.
Well, that's because you're also not gonna get the general reaction of like people going, man, Drunken Dan said Sonic Adventure 2 is a bad game. I'm gonna go make a vlog that calls him every name under the sun.
Right.
And like nowadays, it's all just in the YouTube comments. And who reads YouTube?
Yeah, because that was actually a thing back in the day. YouTube used to have a feature where you could reply to the video with a video.
Yeah.
That was an old feature back in the day where you could do that. And that was actually a way that some people got, like, famous back in the early days of YouTube, was they would reply to a popular video, and then that video would get popular either for the right or wrong reasons, and that's how a lot of people, how a lot of people's careers jumped.
This is how the YouTube drama stuff sort of used to work back in those days. Before now, it was, hey, this YouTuber has just committed a felony. Let's talk about that. Or, hey, this happened. Like, as I said, it was slightly more innocent in the sense that it was just...
In a way, it was a lot more quaint.
It was all just sort of based on just pure vitriol, not like people doing actually scummy shit.
It was stuff like, hey, this motherfucker said that I'm a bitch-ass motherfucker, and I'm gonna call him a piece of shit, because he called me a bitch-ass motherfucker, but he's really the bitch-ass motherfucker. Can you believe this guy doesn't like fucking Mario?
Do you know what quote is just coming to mind for me right now?
What?
Sundowner from Metal Gear Rising just shouting, like the good old days of 9/11!
Oh my god! Fuck!
This is what it was like, kids, like the good old days of 9/11, back in the early days of
I feel like this is a good place to end off, was with that.
It's funny, because we're in New York right now.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this clusterfuck of a video. Have a good day.